There's something in the aesthetic industry that's drilled into us from the moment we start seeking training, and it's called treating to correction. So what's important is dose equals efficacy. So your dose and however many units you're receiving is often and very much equated to the length or the efficacy of your treatment. How long is my toxin going to last? Because again, these are luxury services, and we're pricing our toxins at $13 a unit. And do you know the average dose is about 60 units for full face correction? One thing I've learned over time in injecting is it seems that where we've moved from a place of women wanting to be like completely frozen with no movement whatsoever to it being more the norm for us to kind of sprinkle. Hey everybody, I'm Lucy Douglas. I'm a family nurse practitioner and I'm owner and CEO of New Beginnings Wellness Center and Spa here in Ruston, Louisiana. I've been talking this week about the aesthetic side of my practice, filling you in on some information about the various fillers that are offered here and kind of some information about them and why we might choose one over the other for your aesthetic needs. So the next thing I'm going to talk about are the various neurotoxins that are available on the market. So the one that has the most brand recognition is, of course, BOTOX, made by Allergan. So BOTOX Cosmetic, been around for, 15 plus years now. Excellent product. Everyone knows about BOTOX. The other product that I offer is XEOMIN, made by MERS Aesthetics. And then the other one that's available on the market here in the US is made by Galderma, and that one is called Dysport. So why would I need more than one? Well, something I started noticing in some clients, not all clients, was an issue with what we call dose creeping. It seemed to be that the dose or the amount of units that the patient had been receiving for maybe even several years seemed to not be holding them as long. And so I started investigating this, talking with other injectors, looking into it, and it seems that it's actually a thing. It's not just my observation here in my smallish patient population. So I found this product, XEOMIN, and read that the physician who developed XEOMIN, which is basically the same purified protein, which is a derivative of the botulinum toxin, where BOTOX's name is onabotulinum. Try to say that 3 times real quick. Onabotulinum toxin A, where XEOMIN is incobotulinum toxin A. So the physician who developed XEOMIN, he realized in looking at the structure of BOTOX that BOTOX has an accessory protein. And he seemed to think that that accessory protein, though it wasn't necessary for the effectiveness of BOTOX, just was part of the chemical makeup, seemed to be affecting some people in that they were maybe developing what he called resistance to that particular toxin. So he was able to develop XEOMIN without that accessory protein. So some injectors, some people marketing XEOMIN will refer to it as the clean toxin. Gwyneth Paltrow is now repping for XEOMIN, and it is a comparable product. But I was just interested during my own research, could I make this problem better for my clients? And I'm really happy to say that that problem for that group of patients has gone away by changing them to a different toxin. One thing that I want you to be aware of is that when we are treating wrinkles with toxin injections, either in the forehead, the glabella here, the fine lines around the eyes, the crow's feet, the bunny lines here, the nasalis muscle. We can treat this depressor muscle here to help the corners of the mouth turn up. Wherever we're treating, we treat the mentalis muscle to correct that pebbly chin that wants to pull up and sometimes deepen this mental crease. We're dispensing that in units. And these toxins are drugs, just like I might write a prescription to you for an antibiotic to treat a urinary tract infection. If I write you a prescription that only contains 2 pills and it requires 2 pills a day for 7 days, am I going to cure your UTI? Well, no, I'm not. So there's something in the aesthetic industry that's drilled into us from the moment we start seeking training, and it's called treating to correction. So what's important is dose equals efficacy. So your dose and however many units you're receiving is often and very much equated to the length or the efficacy of your treatment. How long is my toxin going to last? Because again, these are luxury services, and we're pricing our toxins at $13 a unit. And do you know the average dose is about 60 units for full face correction? One thing I've learned over time in injecting is it seems that where we've moved from a place of women wanting to be like completely frozen with no movement whatsoever to it being more the norm for us to kind of sprinkle and do full face. Because guess what? These muscles are all communicating one with another. So if I inject your glabella muscles without doing some correction on the forehead, sometimes that can make you look off balance. It can make your movement of your eyebrows look a little weird. And so I'm a teacher. I taught in higher education almost my whole professional career. I taught in English before I went back and entered into my nursing career, and then I taught in nursing before I went back to become a nurse practitioner. So I like to teach people. And I like to teach my patients so that they have appropriate expectations when they walk in, that they understand that when I first say to a new person, well, can you let me know what your budget is today? And they say $200, I might not be able to meet their need with that budget. Because if I'm going to treat to correction and I think they need 35 units, but they can only afford 20, you can see where that could be a problem, where they're not going to get the result that they want. And they're going to think that I didn't know what I was doing. Or I've heard lots of consumers of toxin services say, well, so-and-so injector dilutes their Botox. Well, let me tell you something. These come to us freeze-dried. These are not reconstituted. So we actually do have to reconstitute them. So if you see your injector drawing up normal saline and injecting it into these vials, that is entirely appropriate. That's what we must do in order to get the active ingredient and then place it into your muscles. So treating to correction is an important concept for you to understand, and that we will discuss what I feel like your dose might be when you come. And so most people are like, they have strong contraction here, those 11s, and they really want to get rid of that. But maybe I see that they could benefit from just a sprinkle on the upper forehead or just a little bit to calm the smile lines down around the eye. So the muscles are more harmonious and you look a little more balanced and not startled or frozen. So those are just some basic principles about toxins, the 2 that I'm using here at New Beginnings. And we're going to talk some more about some of the areas that a lot of patients are requesting when they come in to talk to me about fillers and toxin. So come back and let's get together again soon. Thank you so much.